Welcome back to Prime Time. Let's return now to our ongoing coverage of this growing rebellion Rishi Sunak is facing over his controversial Rwanda plan. Let's talk about the cost now, because I think that matters to a lot of us. Originally, the plan was billed at some £140 million, but as the Home Office has been ordered to disclose the full costs of the secretive deal, it has emerged that the UK has paid a further £100 million to secure this scheme, taking the bill to £240 million. And Sir Matthew Rycroft, a civil servant in the Home Office, revealed that a further £50 million will be paid to the African nation in 2024, bringing the total to some £290 million. That's where we're at the moment. How do we feel about all this money being spent? That's my question next. Joining me in the studio is somebody from Labour Together, because Labour leader Keir Starmer has said this hugely expensive scheme is wrong and will be reversed if the party wins the next general election. But have they got a better plan? Labour Together is a highly influential think tank that works closely within the party, and their Director of Strategy, Josh Williams, joins me now in the studio. Josh, thank you. I mean, in terms of the costing of this, what are your thoughts?
I mean, you've got to start with the scale of it. So £290 million, that is about a quarter of all of Rwanda's exports in any given year. So we have thrown a crazy sum of money at the Rwandans for a plan that has not got a single plane off the ground. If you wanted to buy a whole load of plane tickets, you could fly 77,000 people to Rwanda with that much money. We haven't flown anybody to Rwanda. It is a colossal amount of money to have wasted to no great end.
It is extraordinary. Rwanda seems to be benefiting currently from all of this, given that they haven't had to provide the service for which we have paid them a lot of money for. That's not me criticising Rwanda. It's more just looking at the state of the scheme where it currently is. You can understand why the average voter is wondering at this point where this takes us. But I will say this, ask you with regard to Labour. We had Paul Scully MP, Conservative MP, on the show just a few minutes ago, and he said, look, you've got to get behind this. He was talking to his Conservative colleagues because there is no other option for dealing with this illegal migration issue. I haven't seen a better plan. What do you say to that?
Well, I actually think Labour have set out a very clear plan. So Yvette Cooper and Stephen Kinnock have both set out this 5-point plan for migration and asylum. At Labour Together, we've tested these two plans against each other. So we've put the Labour plan up against the Conservative plan. And we see that when the two plans are placed side by side, voters are moving towards the Labour Party. They're also moving away from the Conservative Party and off to Reform when those two plans are put side by side. So if you ask the voters think there are two very separate plans here, and they prefer the Labour Party plan to the Conservative plan.
What is the Labour Party plan? Spell it out for our viewers.
Oh, well, 5 points is an awful lot of points for the public to remember. But essentially, what is happening is the 5-point plan is going to smash the gangs in the first instance. So it's all about putting in a cross-border police force, working with the French on that.
To that, I will say that has been tried, Conservatives would say, and they just don't seem to have made much progress.
So I think it's worth remembering that a Conservative government and a Labour government would be quite a different proposition. There is no love lost, I think, between the Conservative government as it is now and the Europeans. And I do think there's an opportunity with a change of government to sort of reset the negotiation. And the broader Labour Party plan, the rest of the 5-point plan, which involves both resettling migrants, so sending migrants back to, well, returning migrants, so sending migrants to France to be processed in return for resettlement of migrants who have an existing relationship with the United Kingdom. There's a bit of give and take there, and that makes a difference. And I think that's why the Labour plan is deliverable, and the Conservatives, I don't think, have a deliverable plan.
And I stopped you there. You've got 4 more points to list: 2, 3, 4, and 5.
So I've got 1, 2, 3 there. There's a
okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so in terms of the delivery of that, why do you think the message hasn't landed as much? You say voters are moving across, and the polling is telling you that, but just anecdotally, sometimes you hear, especially as a reporter, reporters going out speaking to voters and saying we're not quite sure what Labour's migration policy or plan is. Why do you think it hasn't landed?
Well, I think it's early on. We're not in the election campaign yet, and therefore people are not switching on in a big way to the propositions that are set out by both parties. You don't tend to get a lot of awareness of the opposition's plans until you're in the fight and the heat of the election campaign. What we do know is that the Labour Party polls 6 points higher on migration than the Conservatives do. That is incredibly rare. On the whole, the Conservatives poll higher than the Labour Party, even when Labour is in government. Right now, Labour has the lead. So they might not be able to remember all 5 points of the plan, but right now they trust the Labour Party more than the Conservatives on this issue.